Hi everyone! Today I have a accordion card tutorial for you, but before we jump into that, this card also have a companion card, and if you want to see how I created that, you have to jump over to Craft World. Craft World is a new craft community created by Practical Publishing that makes magazines like Simply Cards and Papercraft and Papercraft Essentials. I was contacted by Practical Publishing earlier or late last year, and they asked me if I wanted to work with them. So today I have two videos, one here on YouTube and one over on Craft World. There is a link in the description down below so you can join up with the Craft World. And if you do, which is free by the way, and do it through my link, they will know that I sent you, and I will get a small commission, which will help me to create more videos like these. But now, first, let's jump into this tutorial. So let's jump into this accordion card. I have made one that only have like a W, but you can make it as long as you want. I'm going to cut the cardstock into two pieces, one short, which is the one you want one of, and one a little bit longer. I cut them down first as strips that are 3 3/4 wide. You only get 2 out of a sheet. I then gonna cut them down to the length that I want them. The first is 7 5/8 of an inch, and this is because I want a little spine on this to be able to kind of mat and layer as much as I want. For the second part, I'm gonna have a tab for it, so I'm gonna make this 8 1/8 of an inch to make room for the tab to be able to tape these together. To make the spine, I score at 3 3/4. I turn it around and I score it again at 3 3/4. And that makes the first on the shorter paper, gives me that little 8 of an inch spine. It's a little bit fiddly to get it to be burnished, but when it's done, it looks really, really good. I really enjoy having that little spine. For the second one, I'm going to score it at 3 3/4, and then I'm supposed to score it at 3 7/8, and I'm going back and doing that later. For the little tab, I score it at 3/8 of an inch, and to give the tab a little spine, I'm going to score that at 1/2 an inch. So now I have an 1/8 of an inch spine here, turning around the card, scoring that at 3 7/8, and now I have all my score lines. And then I'm going over with my Teflon bone folder to kind of burnish all of those score lines. That bone folder, the Teflon one, is really, really good at giving those perfect score lines. I really enjoy using that one. So now my kind of card pieces are done. If you wanted to make it much longer, you just do more of those tabbed ones. For the little tab, I just cut off the miter, the little corner, just slightly. This will make it both easier to line up, but also you won't see the edges of the tab on the other card. I really enjoy that. And then I burnish my tape. I use score tape, which is a much stickier tape. It will hold this card together. After it is as I want it, I also go over and burnish that tab again to make the tape really stick. And that is the card base. So now for the decoration, I'm going to do a lot of decoration. First, I have a whole bunch of little 3 1/2 inch squares. These are going to be the mats to all of my sides. As you see here, I'm going to do this with the little creations. And then I have one piece here that is 4 1/4 by 3 7/8. This is going to be a little pocket, which I'm going to have in the end. And I score that with a 3 1/8 inch border on 3 of the sides. And then we're going to just build the pocket. So this pocket doesn't have any kind of thicker edges. This is just a very slim pocket. then I fold and burnish all of those edges, and then I go in with my scissors and cut it down. I realized after I cut it that those edges would overlap, so I'm going in again and just cutting off a little bit more so that the edges doesn't overlap on the pockets, which will make it easier to fit it in on my card base. I want my pocket to be on the back side, but before I start assembling it, I am going to put the design on. So I first wanted some pattern paper there, decided I didn't want it, the second layer. So I'm using these Doodlebug Designs cardstocks all over this project, and decided that this little lamb and koalas would work perfectly. By the way, all of the images are from the Hug It Up stamp set, and the coloring for that is in a separate video, which you can find both at the end of the video, in the description down below, and on my channel. So at the back inner side, I wanted to have my pocket, so I have taped it with some score tape, and then I just carefully push it down so that I will get a pocket. So the pocket is done. We're going to decorate, put things in it towards the end of the video. For the other side, I am going to add another one of these panels with the same brown cardstock, making sure that the little stitched dies that I have on them are on opposite ends, just to give it a little bit of movement. I don't know, it really looked good, I think. I'm using these hugs. This is from the Sending Hugs die, and it's actually the leftovers from the card that is over at Craft World. So again, if you want to see it, go over there. I put them down with some Lawn Fawn glue very quickly, very simple. Just the hugs, decided I wanted some more, so I'm picking out the Sending little pieces from the exact same cut, and then I'm just gonna tape those or glue those down one at a time on the top. I'm not gonna go in with a U because I didn't feel it fitted good on this page, and I didn't feel it was needed. So this is just I'm giving a lot of white space throughout this card. There's a lot of white space. The idea is that you can write cute little messages for your loved ones, so it's kind of a journaling card slash just an accordion card. Then I decided I wanted to go with a pink layout, so I went in with a ripe raspberry, and then I have cut some strips of this stripy pattern paper. It is also by Doodlebug. All the cards, the pattern papers are from an assortment of Doodlebug pattern paper sets, the 6x6 ones, because they have these little designs. Decided I want some detail on the opposite box here, so I'm going in with those Hug It Out stamps, but I'm just stamping them in a color coordinated ink. So this was the ripe raspberry ink because it's going to be matted on some ripe raspberry cardstock. Sorry, that was hard to say. And then I decided that I wanted this strip also here, but I'm going to carefully, not perfectly, but it worked out, actually add it so it looks like the little beer is on top of that little stripe, and not just that the stripe is added on the same paper. I don't know, it was something. I went in with my knife and cut out the edges of the beer at the end to make them fit together. And then I'm just using some tape runner to layer the different pieces on top of each other. And I'm actually using a lot of tape runner here. I even used the tape runner on the back side of my colored images because I thought it would be easier that way, quicker at least. So yeah, now I have made one side of this little accordion. I was thinking, should I use something more? Should I have a text? And I ended up choosing not to go with anything. Here, you see how I'm peeling off the front side because I made the front side. I haven't showed you that because I decided I didn't want to go with that. I didn't feel that it fitted together with the rest of it, being that it was a little bit of pattern paper. I felt it was too busy, it was too much. So I decided to just change it up. And you can do that. If you're very careful, you can actually rip things off before you're done. I'm choosing this very bright pink cardstock and I'm cutting it out with the love die. The love die doesn't exist anymore. However, you can use the impact alphabet dies because, you know, I love them. But I had the love die in my stash, so I thought I use that one. And then I just cut down some more of those ripe raspberry squares because I decided that the pink with the pink looked better than the pink with the brown. So I wanted a pink front. And then I have these cute little arrows from the tag builder set. I think it's number 5. It will be linked in the description. And I cut out the arrows in the same brown cardstock that I've used throughout the accordion card and the ripe raspberry cardstock. And then I'm just gonna add those as a little detail. I didn't want these to be too cramped. I wanted them to have space so you can write little notes and it could be a little cute letter to someone. And again, all of the images that I use, like the little colored images, you can find the coloring in real time in my coloring video, which is also on my channel. So I add some glue to these little dies. It would be so good to have one of those little glue runner pens, but mine has dried out and I couldn't buy anyone from the last place I bought things. So I tried with the glue. It worked too, but it can seep on the other side. Then I actually go in and do the proper like coloring blocking that, okay, because this was pink in the beginning, I want the pink in the end, and then I want the brown in the middle. I have these little cards that comes also from the 6x6 paper pattern pack. So I thought I wanted to use those, and then I'm gonna use my leftover arrows as little details. And then I'm looking at this side because I thought I would have the little dog and monkey there. I end up not doing, spoiler alert. Again, I'm using the coordinating raspberry ink and stamp down the "Can we hug it out?" I have cut some of the flags from the bitter banner and alphabet flag die to make a little banner on this because I felt it needed something, and I'm like, I'm gonna do another banner because these banners are so fun to do. I think the thread is from a American craft set that I bought like 10 years ago. So but there is a lot of different kinds of these baker twines out there if you need it. And then I'm just going to tape it down. And as you see, I moved the monkey over to the brown piece just because I felt it fitted better with the color scheme on that card, and it still didn't make the card too busy. I kind of look at them as individual cards that should fit into a series. So I add those little note cards, the little arrows, and then the little monkey. And then that panel is done. And then I'm going to do the last panel here. And again, I don't know if you noticed it, but I have altered how the mod STAX die, the little white square with the rounded corners, are added to the card to make the card flow a little bit, to give it a little bit more motion. So yeah, for the last part, we are going to add some tags. So I'm using the tag builder die again, and then I'm gonna layer some pattern papers and some other white pieces of cardstock on those tags. And you can you can add how many tags you want and whatever you want on the tags. It works great. However, I wanted to have these, I have a little bit more pattern paper to kind of tie in with the rest. I felt it was a little bit too busy, that paper. First, I wanted a little white square on the back side so that you can kind of write something. And then I wanted to reuse some of the pattern papers that I use in the rest of the project so that the tags really are tied in with those. And then I kind of, I'm going to have a white box on the other side. And then I decided that I want to have white boxes on the top side too, because I felt that just pattern paper wasn't enough. I am using some more of those stamps from the Hug It Out stamp set. So I'm using the raspberry ink. This is the dye ink, and just stamping the outlines of the little characters. And for the tag, I didn't have the dye ink. However, I had one of the older hybrid little cube inks. Doesn't stamp as good as the dye inks. I love the dye inks. They have a much better stamp, kind of quality of stamp, but it fit my purpose. It fit my purpose. And by the way, that milk chocolate, they are coming out with a new formula of ink, and that is coming out next week. So if you want that milk chocolate, it will be out next week. And I will update my links in the description when that happens, because right now you can't get that milk chocolate cardstock or ink from their store. But it comes out next week. So yeah. As you see here, I decided I wanted some more on this cardstock. So I decided to, cut down my stamps. I do that on a regular basis. If you're really careful when you cut, you can reuse them for the full sentiment. I use, again, the raspberry ink. I do the little hugs, and then I'm adding some details with one of these smaller ones. I decided to go and do the exact same thing on the second tag, but with some other stamps. So I'm gonna, again, massacre my stamps. I'm gonna cut them apart because I just wanted the bear hug. You can just use some tape and do a little bit of a masking. However, it takes time, and cutting them down is way much faster. And then I decided that with the bear hug, I wanted the bear hug stamp set also. So I stamped that in the corner of the tag. There's still some space to write something if you want to. The little heart punch that I'm using is a Martha Stewart punch I've had for years. I didn't think you can get it anymore. I couldn't find it online. I'm sorry. But there's a lot of dies that you can use instead. There's a lot of heart dies in the little tag builder set that you can use. So that would make it easier. And then I'm just using some bits and pieces of ribbon. This actually ribbon comes from the same set as that little thread, so it isn't on the market. However, I have found some ribbon that is similar, and I will link it in the description down below. Do a double knot, and then I do a little bow on both of them just to give it a little bit more detail. I discovered my scissors was a little bit bent. That was what I was doing there. And then I'm carefully cutting off those ribbons to just be little edges, and I put them in. So this is the end result. So when you open it up, you get a pink open up, and then you have the brown one. Then you can open up the back side. You can see the full one with the brown in the middle and the pinks on the ends, and you kind of have a color scheme that goes through it all. And here is the full little card, and then you have your little tags that you can pull out, and you can put as many or as few tags as you want. You can switch out and make as many pockets as you want in these and you can make them as long as you want. But this was my little video, my little accordion card. I hope you liked it. If you do, please thumbs it up. It means a lot to me. If you have any questions, just comment down below. Down below you have all the details. You also have the link over to Craft World if you want to sign up. It is free. There is a premium tier that is, I think, £20 a year if you want to join, but it is to be able to be part of the forums and so on. You can just join and be a part of a really great community. I hope you join me there, and I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please thumbs it up. It means a lot to me. If you have any questions, just comment down below. Down below, you can also find all the details. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And I want again say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!